You know that feeling, right? You're in a tough spot, a really tricky situation, and that one piece of advice we've all heard a million times just pops into your head. Yeah, that one. It's supposed to be the gold standard for self-control, the thing that stops a bad situation from getting even worse. But what if it's not? What if sometimes that advice is actually doing more harm than good? Because here's the thing, silence isn't always the same as patience. And that's exactly what we're going to get into today. It's so easy to mix them up, but believe me, there's a huge difference. And knowing that difference, it can change everything, especially how you feel about yourself. All right, so let's dive into the silence we're all taught about. We're going to look at when being quiet is a choice and when it's more of a habit. And hey, let's be fair, sometimes staying quiet is absolutely the right call. Sometimes silence really is golden. It can be a sign of true wisdom, like when you just know that adding more words to the fire won't help. It's a massive display of self-control, right? It shows that you're in charge of your emotions and not the other way around. That's real strength. But let's get real for a second. A lot of the time, our silence isn't some wise, strategic choice. It's fear. It's just a gut reaction, a reflex that comes from feeling insecure or just being so used to swallowing our words that we don't even think about it anymore. So, that's the big question, isn't it? Patience or fear? How in the world do you tell them apart? How do you know if you're being patient or just hiding? Well, let's really dig into that crucial difference. Okay, look at this. This is the whole ball game right here. Real patience, it's active. You're waiting for the right moment. You're observing, thinking, planning. But that fearful silence, that's completely passive. You're just trying to avoid the moment entirely. You're retreating, crossing your fingers, and hoping the whole thing just goes away. See the difference? One's a strategy, the other, it's basically a surrender. So yeah, let's be super clear on this. True patience is not about just shutting up. It's an active state. You're watching, you're understanding, and you're choosing the perfect time to speak up with total clarity. It's a game plan, not a fire escape. And this is so important to understand. When we choose silence out of fear, it's not a free pass. There's a price to pay. There's this hidden weight of all the words we never said. And trust me, we're the ones who end up carrying it. Just think about it. How many times have you done this? You're in a moment, something feels off, but you say nothing. You just swallow your words to keep the peace, right? You don't want to start a fight. You don't want to be that person. But here's the thing. Those words you swallowed, they don't just vanish. Nope. First, they start to curdle, turning into this buzzing frustration. You know the feeling? You're replaying it over and over in your mind, thinking of all the perfect things you should have said. And if you keep doing it, that frustration starts to harden. It turns into resentment. And that's a heavy, toxic weight to carry around. It poisons everything, your relationships, your mood, even your own peace of mind. And this is the sneaky little voice of fear, isn't it? It whispers to you, hey, if I speak up, things are just going to get worse. If I stay quiet, at least I'll be safe. It's such a convincing lie because it sounds like it's trying to protect you. But here's the catch. That safety you're buying with your silence, it comes at a cost. And that cost is your self-respect. See, that kind of peace isn't real peace. It's just quiet. And there's no way to feel truly at peace when you're constantly abandoning yourself. And when this becomes a habit, it leads to something called slow self-erasure. Think about that. It's the process of teaching yourself over and over again to just tolerate disrespect. Every single time you suppress your voice, you're not just telling other people your boundaries are optional. You're telling yourself that your voice doesn't matter. It's like you're slowly fading out of your own life. Okay, so that's the problem. It's heavy stuff, but the good news is we can break the cycle. So how do we actually practice real, active patience? How do we learn to speak with strength instead of anger? Let's look at the way forward. So here it is, the path of real patience. It's not about exploding or lashing out. Not at all. Step 1, you've got to understand what you're actually feeling. Step 2, you have to respect yourself enough to believe your feelings are valid. And step 3, you respond honestly, not just emotionally. It's about choosing your words carefully instead of just reacting. And this right here is a game changer. Your voice doesn't have to be angry to be strong. So many of us stay quiet because we think our only other option is to get loud and aggressive, you know? We think strength means confrontation.
But that's just not true. It just has to be honest. The real power, the real strength, comes from simple, clear honesty. Just saying what's true for you, calmly and directly. Wow, that's one of the most powerful things anyone can do.
And that brings us to the most important part of this whole conversation. We're talking about your voice, your dignity. This is way bigger than just learning how to talk to people better. This is about reclaiming something you absolutely deserve.
So let's just boil it all down one last time. When is silence powerful? When it's chosen. And when is it surrender? When it's forced by fear. That's it. That's the whole distinction.
So from now on, here's the question you have to ask yourself in those moments. Am I being patient right now, or am I just afraid to speak? Be honest with yourself. Is this a strategic choice, or am I just retreating? The answer to that question, well, it changes everything. Because here's the bottom line. Patience protects your peace, and your voice protects your dignity. You should never, ever have to trade one for the other. You absolutely deserve both.